Hello everyone, I invite you to every Wednesday cryptocurrency review. Let's start by checking the current situation on the BTC to USDT pair, taking into account the 4-hour interval. First, we will use the blue lines to mark the sideways trend channel, but locally, we will use the yellow lines to mark the second downtrend channel. Now we can move on to marking the places of support in the event of a correction. And here we have the first support at $21,951, the second support at $21,834, the third at $21,736. And then it is worth marking a strong support zone from $21,640 to $21,500. Looking the other way, in a similar way, using the trend-based fib extension tool, we can determine the places of resistance. And as you can see, we have the first resistance at $22,016, the second at $22,118, the third at $22,197. And then we have a strong resistance zone from $22,283 to $22,403. Please pay attention to the CHOP index, which indicates that there is still energy to continue the move. The MACD indicator indicates entering a local downtrend, while on the RSI we are moving at the lower end of the range, which can potentially give a change in the trend. As the second chart in today's review, we will check thematic against USDT, also on a 4-hour timeframe. First of all, using the yellow lines, we can mark the downtrend channel in which the price is currently moving. Now let's move on to marking the places of support. We will use the trend-based fib extension tool to mark the supports, and as you can see, we have the first support at $1.06, the second support at 99 cents, the third at 93 cents, and the fourth at 87 cents. Looking the other way, we can also mark the places where the price should encounter resistance on the way to increases. And here we have the first significant resistance at $1.18, the next resistance at $1.24, then the third resistance at $1.30, and the fourth at $1.34. Now let's move on to index CHOP, which indicates that energy has been used for the correction, but there is still some left. The MACD indicator is on the verge of entering a local downtrend. On the other hand, we see a significant rebound on the RSI. We are approaching the lower limit of the range, which may indicate an upcoming trend change. As the third one, we will check the FTM chart, this time on a one-day interval. As we can see, the price is moving in the downtrend channel, which we have marked with blue lines. Let's start by marking the support spots for the price, and we see that we have the first support at 35 cents. The second very strong support at 27 cents, and the next support at 16 cents. Looking the other way, we can similarly determine the places of resistance that the price has to face. And here we see that first we have a resistance zone from 44 cents to 48 cents. Then we have resistance at 51 cents. Then we have a second strong resistance zone from 55 cents to 59 cents. Once price breaks it, it will move towards resistance at 65 cents. It is worth paying attention to the EMA cross 10 and 30, which clearly indicate the place of entering the downtrend. The CHOP index indicates that there is some energy left for further movement. The MACD indicates the continuation of the downward trend, while the RSI is moving in the lower part of the range and is approaching the lower limit, thus creating room for new increases. The last one in today's chart is the LTC chart against USDT on a one-day interval. First, we will use the blue lines to mark the uptrend channel from which the price came down. Moving on, we can move on to marking support areas when we start a larger correction. And here, the first support is at $83, where the price is currently located. The second support is at $77. The third support is at $70, and then we have the fourth support at $60. Looking the other way, we see first resistance at $88 to $91. Then second resistance at $94 to $97. Then support at $100. Then support at $105. Please look at the CHOP index, which indicates that there is some energy left for further movement. The MACD indicates that we are moving in a downtrend, while the RSI has a rebound and we are approaching the lower limit of the range. Technical analysis is provided by a third party and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.